Hey, YouTubers, this is Paul Lynch back with another video that um, touches on the whole dating relationship dynamic between men and women. However, the thing I want to focus on the most is something that why most women make most men wait for sex. And it's not because they say, well, I just want to make sure that he really wants me for more than just my body. That he's just not going to hit and run. The problem with that is that when it comes to the Chads and the bad boys, the 1% of men that make most women tingle down there, most women have no problem giving up right away to those guys. They don't make those guys wait. They don't make them wait. They don't make them pay for dinner. They don't make them commit or even be faithful. They want sex with those guys. And they don't want to wait. Also, they know if they even try to play that waiting game, wait 90 days. No Chad, no bad boy is going to wait 90 freaking days for sex. It's just not going to happen. But you know who will wait 90 days? Most men. Especially the simps. And it's not because women want to make sure. It's for two reasons. One, most women need to reach a point when they're dealing with non-chads and non-bad boys, which are 99% of men. They need to reach a point where they can stomach having sex with a man that doesn't make them tingle, which is most men. There is absolutely nothing that a man can do to make a woman tingle down there. She either is turned on by him or she's not. And women know right away if that guy makes them tingle down there. Right away. This whole, well, I didn't like him. I didn't find him appealing right away at all. But as I got to know him, he grew on me and I fell in love with him. And now I just love having sex with him all the time. Get the fuck out of here. That bullshit never fucking happens. Okay? Women just don't all of a sudden, over time fall in love with a guy and just like, oh my God, he's just the most amazing lover ever. No. Just not happening. Okay? Because the things that make a woman tingle down there are things that come natural to a man. Like height. Only 13% of men are at least 6 feet tall. If you up that to 6'2", I'm 6'2", 3% of men are at least 6'2" and above. 3%. And that's not factoring in looks, head full of hair, those piercing, all that shit. Okay, but the point is, height, those piercing eyes, that broad muscular chin, those broad shoulders, having a head full of hair, and what's he packing down there? And if he knows how to use it. The only thing a guy of those scenarios down there that of those check marks I just listed, the only thing that a man can control is what the fuck he's doing in bed. I hear women all the time say, well, just because he's got packing down there don't mean he knows what he's doing or he's going to feel good to a woman. True. And yeah, there are things a guy can learn in bed. But if dude has a micro dick And there's actually, it's called micropenis. It's an actual medical term. The first time I ever heard of it was when they caught the Golden State Killer. Because when that dude was doing all his raping and all that kind of stuff he was doing it with a micro penis. And I was watching a podcast where they had these women who they were interviewing the victims, and this was before he got caught. They were interviewing the victims, and they were talking about how, years ago they started to get together and having like a dinner. Every year they'll get together and talk about updates on the case and how they're doing, and it was always kind of somber. But then one of them commented about how little his dick was, and then all the others started chiming in. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. I barely even felt him, and what turned to like a yearly somber, like tough to reminisce. Immediately, all the women at the table who were victimized by this guy started laughing. They were laughing. They were ridiculing him, putting him down. Just, like pathetic, limp, skinny, like, oh, the only way you can get it up is if you just take it from somebody. And they turned what happened to them into just like basically look at him in a pathetic manner. In a way, kind of like, what they were talking about, kind of like took the power away from him of what he did to them. And they were actually able to laugh at how little his fucking dick was. So it's like, yeah, the Golden State Killer is the poster child for having a micro penis. Like big as somebody's pinky. That's how big his fucking dick was. So I don't care how good you are in bed. Okay? If you ain't packing down there, yeah, you may look good, have, certain check marks can get you in the door. But once a woman looks at that, yeah, your days of being a Chad are over with. But that aside, you can learn how, to basically know what the fuck you're doing in bed. And that really works if you're packing. Because guys that are packing and got the other check marks, take care of themselves, look good, all that kind of stuff, which are a rare breed. Go from 13% of men, there at least, because women want men who are tall. Now, are there exceptions? Sure. There are women that go for short guys, just like there are guys that go for fat chicks. But in general, most men do not want to fuck a fat chick. Okay? And most women don't want to fuck a short guy. Okay? And so, so we're dealing in generalities here. So, yeah, are there exceptions? Yeah, sure. Are there outliers? Yes. Is something possible? Yes. But just because something's possible does not mean it is probable. And that's something most men know. Women love living in the land of possibility. I know that one guy, or I know that one girl. All right, but men, we have to live in the land of probability. So, when we approach a female, or we have to realistically rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 and to figure out what kind of women are realistically in our league. And then we have to lower that by a notch or two, because the women that are in our league realistically don't want men in our league, no matter where you're at. They want men above them. So really, if you're a 5, you're going to look down to a 3 or a 4. If you're a 6, you got to look for a 5 or a 4. If you're a guy, you're a 7, you got to look for a 6 or a 5. And even nowadays, guys who are 7s and 8s, the women who are like 5s, like 7s, 5s, 6s, and 5s, whatever below that, they want a guy that's a 9 or a 10. That's crazy. But that's the reality of the world we live in. So, as a man, you got two choices. You're going to there are things you can do to, hit check marks at level, try to level up. Or, you settle for less. A lot less. Or you do what I did and you just give the fuck up and just, remove yourself from the dating scene and you live a life on easy mode, which is what I do. I live life on fucking easy mode. But getting back to what I was, trying to talk about the two reasons why most women make most men wait is because most women, like I said, most women want sex just as much as most men do. They just only find a very small percentage of men to be sexually appealing to them. So most women know when they're with most men, they're settling. And so they make that motherfucker wait as long as possible before they have sex with him. Because they want to make sure that he has enough check marks or they can stomach having sex with him. Because it's like, reach a point where he hits all these check marks and she knows that he's that guy and that he can hit all these non-physical check marks. Okay, like how much money he makes. Is he funny? Does he have great communication skills? Is he honest? Is he, integrity? Does he, they share same common goals with her? That kind of shit. Is he monogamous? Which, you know what? Most men are monogamous. Okay? It's not by choice. It's by, necessity. It's just, because most men simply don't have the option to fucking cheat. So when we're talking about, I don't want to have sex with the good guy right away because, if I do, he's going to look at me like, he doesn't respect me and he's just going to leave me. And, that's total bullshit. I've never met a guy, who, had this amazing sex with a woman that he just met. But because she gave it to him right away, he couldn't see her anymore. He's like, I lost all respect for her. I'm not ever see her again. He ghosted her. No, that shit doesn't fucking happen. If anything, that's going to incentivize the good guy to want to okay, wow, I got me a keeper here. Because most men, they have a hard enough time getting one fucking female to even give them the time of day. So what? I'm supposed to believe that, the 80% of men that most women rate below a 5 are just going to kick a woman to the curb that gives them sex on their first date because she gave it up too quick? Give me a fucking break, man. That doesn't make any fucking sense. But you know what does make sense? Is the fact that the good guy, most men, whatever you want to call the guy, simply does not make most women tingle down there. In fact, most women rate 80% of men as being below a 5 on the physical level. Below a 5 means below average. Okay? And so most women find most men to be repulsive. The idea of most women having sex with most men is like me trying to contemplate eating carrot salad. That shit's disgusting to me. Now, there's nothing wrong with carrot. I'm sure it's healthy. Nothing wrong with it. A lot of people like it, but it just repulses me. It's like I get nauseated. I remember trying the first time I ever smelled it, I almost threw up. And I'm like, I can't eat this shit. So I just, I'll never eat carrot salad. But that doesn't mean it's bad or it's wrong, but it just nauseates me. And I think that, like with most women, they look at most men that way from a physical standpoint. It's just nauseating the thought of them having sex with a non-Chad, a non-bad boy. But if most women want a relationship, they want a marriage, they want a family, and they want to be able to have a life not alone, they want to share their life with somebody, then they have to reach a point in their life where they realize that the Chad and the bad boy, there's not enough. One, there's not enough of these guys going around. And number two, that motherfucker doesn't want to wife them up. So, then they try to they pivot and they look for the most non-physically offensive, non-Chad, non-bad boy who's able to hit the plethora of other check marks, non-physical check marks that most women look for in a man. And when they find that good guy that hits all these other check marks, then it's like, okay, they have to mentally prepare themselves to stomach having sex with that guy. And so, it's like they got to be incentivized to do it. And once she reaches that point, and she knows, like, okay, you know what? He's either, it's time. He's going to leave me. He's going to lose interest in me. He's not going to wait. He's done what he's done with, it's like, okay, I'll have sex with him. And they do. They'll fake it, whatever. Okay? Or they genuinely believe like he's a good guy. He's earned it. He deserves it. And they can mentally stomach it. The second reason is they have to reach a point where they accept the fact that if they have sex with that guy, the non-Chad, the non-bad boy, that they're contemplating having a long-term, committed, faithful relationship with that guy, that they have sex with him, they're never, ever going to be able to enjoy having sex with that guy. Because women who have had sex with Chads and bad boys, and especially women who have had the LD, that means they got the long stroke by the long dick, and the motherfucker knew what he was doing. I mean, he was parting their walls like the Red Sea and pounding the back of their cervix like a jackhammer in such a way that fucking gave them the most orgasmic orgasms possible. Talk dirty to them, held them down, just whatever it is they're into, gave them the most intense orgasms imaginable. Once a woman's had that long dick with the long stroke, parting the walls and hitting that fucking jackhammer to fucking cervix, once she's had that kind of dick, regular men just will never do it for her. She'll compare every guy that she's ever with after that guy to that guy. And a guy that's just a regular guy, who's a good guy, that's just regular in bed, nothing special, kind of vanilla, whatever. How's she going to orgasm with that? When she's had something that was just amazing. Because women, they get wrapped up in their heads when it comes to certain things. And they just can't. They can't enjoy it with a regular guy. So they'll fake it. And they'll just, it's like I said, stomach it and accept it. That's why they wait. Remember that, guys. They have to mentally reach a point where they can stomach having sex with that guy, and that they can accept never being able to enjoy having sex, potentially for the rest of their lives, if they stay with that guy, if they're committed to that guy, if they're faithful to that guy. Now, for a woman to do that, that motherfucker better be hitting some fucking non-physical check marks to justify her accepting and stomaching having sex, committing to a non-Chad, non-bad boy. Because 99% of men are not Chads, they're not bad boys. And so, yeah. Before I forget, I was watching a podcast the other day, or listening to a podcast when I was walking my dog, Stella. And a lot of women put men in their friend zone. And they feel just fine doing that. Because the men that they want don't want them or won't commit to them. And I heard a guy explain, he's like, you know what? The guys who are the Chads and the bad boys, they put women in the sex zone. And immediately the women were pushing back and go, that's not right. That's not fair. Oh, so it's okay for women to put men in the friend zone. But it's not okay which is most men. But it's not okay for the Chads and the bad boys to put most women in the sex zone. Because it's not most men. most men are not putting women in the sex zone. They can't. How can a guy that's most women rate 80% of men below a 5, that motherfucker can't put a woman in the sex zone? It's just not happening. He ain't cheating with, most men can't cheat. So women love to say, oh, men can't keep in the pants. You know, why is it so hard to find a good guy? Men with that hose, where are you? They're everywhere. The problem for most of you ladies is that, you know, either you don't recognize their existence or you put them in the friend zone. Now, what is the friend zone? The friend zone is women being friends with a guy that they'll kind of expect boyfriend treatment from without actually having sex with the guy. For instance, like they're hanging out with a guy and somebody attacks or whatever, they expect that guy to protect them, to stand up for them. You're walking with a guy friend on the sidewalk, right? They expect the guy to be on the street side of the sidewalk, where, you know, she's on the inner part where facing, you know, like nearest the building, he's nearest the street. Okay, they go somewhere, you know, like you know, into a building together, whatever. He's gonna probably open the door for her. Okay, you know, or let's say that, you know, she needs she got something from IKEA, right? She's gonna call a male friend. Hey, can you help me put this up, fix it? Put this thing together. Or she got like a flat tire or something. You know what I'm saying? You know, they will use men that they put in their friend zone. Now, women go, what's wrong with that? That's what friends do. Okay. Well, do women come over and cook for their male friends? Hey, yeah, I'll cook you a nice meal every once in a while. I'll come over and do your laundry once in a while. I'll come over and keep your house clean once in a while. All right? Hey, I'll even give you a little nuck and tug. That's girlfriend treatment. But no, they can't. How dare you assume that? No, but the men don't get girlfriend treatment for being in the friend zone. But yet, women expect these guys to provide boyfriend treatment without being their boyfriend. So there's no benefit. See, these men who are in the friend zone, they're really just thinking that, you know what, I'm just making, you know, I'm acting like I'm not attracted to her. I'm acting like we're just friends. But deep down, they are attracted to her. And just hoping that a point will come in where they'll do a situation arise and that they'll be able to slide into and just be there when she emotionally needs, and then eventually it'll lead to sex. I'm going to say this. I don't have any female friends. And it's because I don't have anything in common with most women. I like sports. I like to play poker. Those are the two main things that make me up. I don't know hardly any women that like either one. Not both or either one. Now, are there women that do like sports? Yes. But when I say like sports, I'm talking about like first thing you do when you get up in the morning, you open your laptop, you go on ESPN.com to see like anything happen overnight. Now I'll go on the CNN and I'll look at the news, but I want to know what's going on with sports. You know, anything happening, what's going on that day. In the evening time, I got, you know, I'm watching a ball game on TV, or I got ESPN.com popped up on my laptop, and I'm looking at the scores, checking out the stats. I'm watching highlights on ESPN. You know, if I'm watching a movie, I'm checking, you know, whatever. Okay, if I'm out in public, you know, I'll pull my phone up. You know, if I'm with my dog at the dog park or whatever, I'm just like, you know, checking scores. You know, because that's me. But most women don't do it like that. They're not genuine sports fans. Just like most women genuinely are not into poker. Now, are there women that are? Sure. But that's the exception, not the norm. So it's like, you know, I choose to be cool with people, you know, in the most part. Now, do all my male friends like sports? No. But there are things that I have common in with them that makes me friends with them. You know, but the point is that, you know, most of my guy friends, like sports, or they like poker. Point is just that, I when you're friends with a guy, usually you get like equal, like, treatment for like what reason I'm friends with him, he's friends with me. Okay. But it's not like that with women. Not for most men. They use us. And we can't use them. And the only men who get to use women are the Chads and the bad boys. And that's because most women let them use them. That's right. Most women let the Chads and the bad boys put them in the sex only zone. These Chads, they can just run through a female, run through their female friend group, then ghost them. And then 3 months later, text them out of the blue and say, "Hey, baby, how you doing? I know it's been a long time, it's been a minute since we last chatted, but I was wondering if you want to come over and hang over tonight." And within a micro minute, ... "Hey, baby, sure, what time you want me to come over?" Now, if most men did that, these females would be like, "Fuck you, motherfucker." That's assuming that they didn't block his ass. "How dare you? You ghosted me and you did blah, 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 blah." But the Chads and the bad boys? No. These women, because you know why women put up with it? Because these guys don't grow on trees. These are rare men. And once a guy has made a woman come, she's hooked. Women will put up with hella red flags from a Chad or a bad boy that they never would consider tolerating from most men. They accuse us of, thinking with little head. Most men can't afford to do that. But women like to project on us what's really they do. Because women, they think with between their legs when it comes to the Chads and the bad boys. But when it comes to most men, oh yeah, women can suppress that shit. They're like, okay, we know our sexual needs ain't gonna get met. Therefore, if he's even thinking about his sexual needs gonna get met from me, he's gonna have to put up right away. He got to prove that he can do what I need from a man outside the bedroom before I will even consider giving him what he needs inside the bedroom. Yet, when it comes to the Chads and the bad boys, they didn't make him do any of that shit. They gave up the cookies right away to those guys without expecting any of those other check marks in return. Yet, they'll make most men wait and pay premium. So it's like, wait a second, I gotta fucking wait and pay while those guys get it for free right away and they ain't gotta wait? Fuck you. I'm removing myself from the dating scene. I'm not gonna I ain't gonna be a fucking simp. The problem is, most men believe that they have a chance. They want a family. They want a legacy. They want to believe that there's a decent female out there for them. Now, in the past, most women knew that they weren't going to be able to fucking get wiped up by a Chad or a bad boy. And they were able to stomach it and accept it and make it work. That's the third, make it work long term. Because as long as the guy was a decent guy who provided, and was a good husband and father, they could stop, they could, okay, I'm not going to, okay, they're getting a family. That's the best they can do, because up until recent times, most women didn't have access to the education, career, and money-making opportunities that were afforded men. So they just stomach, accept, and make it work. But nowadays, a growing percentage of these women, the vast majority of them now, and it's going to only keep getting more and more, they have little to zero interest in settling. They're like, why did I go to school, have a career, and make money just to settle for a regular guy? Because really, when they say regular guy, they mean a man who ain't shit. Because women basically rate men into two ratings. You're either above an 8, which is like 9 or 10, or you're below a 5, which is 4 and below. That means men who are actual 5s, 6s, 7s, and 8s, they get lumped with the below 5 guys. So a man's either hot shit or dog shit. And so when women say that why should I settle? That means, why should they accept a dog shit man, which is 80% of men. Yet, all women are perfect. All women are 10s, boss babes, queens, Miss Independent. I can do anything a man do, only better. Hot girl summer. I don't need a man. All this. Don't settle, queen. You deserve a perfect man. Yet, he better accept me for all my imperfect flaws. See, it used to be like the hot chicks were like, okay, I'm entitled to a hot guy. But nowadays, even the average homely mid-females, the heifers, they all think they deserve a fucking hot guy. I mean, sometimes you see a fat chick, like, there ain't nothing wrong with you, girl. He better accept you for who you are. How dare he fucking expect you to fucking lose some fucking weight? Yet, he better be fit. He better be tall. He better be hot and handsome. He better have some fucking money. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck? I mean, these imperfect females expect a guy to be that guy, to do all it takes to be that guy, get his fitness together, look good, smell good, get his education, get his career, get his money together. It's not like these guys pop out of the womb and they're that guy. Now, sure, these guys have certain natural advantages, but he's still got to maintain his fitness. And he has to build himself up. So this guy has to do all it takes to become that guy. And yet, he's got to fucking settle for fucking Shamu. For a woman that's not fucking fit, fertile, friendly, feminine. He's got to settle for that? I mean, it's like, I wish you females would just listen to how you fucking talk. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. The shit that goes through the female mind. And their sense of entitlement. And it's like and the hot females, they tell these fat girls, these, mid girls, yeah, girl, nothing wrong with you. You're perfect the way you are. And it's like, why would they say that? If all these homey fat girls, these fucking mid-looking girls, these fucking plain Janes, if they start getting hot guys, what are the hot women gonna do? I mean, because there's only so many hot guys that have money around. These motherfuckers don't grow on trees. And, you know, for you women, oh, well, you just got to level up. You can't level up looks wise. Okay? Maybe there's a few guys that can, but the exception to the rule don't make it the fucking rule. I mean, you know, you really gonna have a broad chin, broad shoulders, head full of hair, those piercing eyes? You're gonna grow? Because most guys are not 6 feet tall and above. I mean, come on. I mean, you know, you ladies are going to have to fucking start being realistic when it comes to your fucking preferences. You know, because living in Delulu land, I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, go ahead. If that's what you want, go ahead. I mean, because you guys all think just because something's possible means it's probable. And that you're not going to settle. When guess what? I mean, most of you ain't perfect either. Most of you ain't rare. I mean, even the hot chicks, you know, I mean, a lot of them, that's all they bring to the table. You know, because a lot of these hot chicks, they squander their beauty. And they squander their beauty by getting ran through by Chaz and bad boys, you know, or just dealing with older men as like sugar babies, instead of using their beauty while they're young to find a husband that is hot and handsome and has money. They want to have hot girl summer, live their best life. And what happens is they're getting instant gratification instead of deferred gratification. And you may get that instant gratification when you're in your 20s, but as you age, you get in your 30s and 40s, you're going to have to pay that bill. Pay the interest. And what the interest is no husband. Or if you do get married, it's going to be somebody that doesn't make you tingle or doesn't have nearly the amount of money that you would like for him to have. Because guys who are that guy, they're either running through females or when they're ready to settle, they're going to wife up a younger, hotter, fitter, friendly, feminine woman who's willing to be on his program, who's compliant. Because those guys can afford that. Those are the guys that all women want. So a guy with options, he's not going to pick a ran-through female in her 30s. Now, most men will. Because most men don't have options. Even decent guys, even decently good-looking guys, they struggle. Because decent doesn't tingle. I mean, for most women to really enjoy sex, I mean, the guy has to hit an extremely high number of physical check marks. Because women have this insane ick factor. Well, they'll just look for any number of reasons to disqualify a man. And he has to be damn near perfect. But if he's perfect in her mind, then she'll truly submit and let him do what the fuck he wants. But he has to be damn near perfect for her to be able to mentally let go and enjoy. I mean, women are just, you ladies got to start getting out of your fucking head and just be, somehow be able to mentally come to grips with reality. Because most men have. I mean, most men, we know that we're not going to be able to, have, you don't think most men would love to wife up a fucking Victoria's Secret supermodel? Hell yeah, most men would. But most men know that they'll never have that. But you know what? We can meet a woman that's on our level or even slightly below and still enjoy having sex with her and make it work. Especially if she shows us some enthusiasm, and it's like, we feel like, all right, she's into it. We can make that work. But the problem for most women is they don't want to make it work. Especially you're educated, career-minded, even women who make money. Because I do that. Why should I settle? But you're not settling. You just think you are. If you go for a regular guy. Women just let me just make this clear. I heard a lady on a podcast say, why don't men, a woman who's educated, has a career, and makes her own money, why can't we be appreciated for that? Okay, let me ask you this. Those you ladies out there that are educated, have careers and make your own money, make close to 6 figures or above or whatever. Let's say you make 6 figures. Do you want a man that is going to factor in your income when it comes to whether, if you guys get together, that you guys can afford to have a life together? Or do you want him to make enough money where your income isn't needed to pay the bills? That your income isn't needed to have a really comfortable lifestyle? No. So if you don't want your money to be needed, then why lead it with it? What good is your money going to do him if you want him to make significantly more than you do and for him to provide? What good is your money going to do him or your career going to do him? Especially a lot of you ladies who want to end up being a stay-at-home mom. You want to be a stay-at-home wife and raise a family and have him provide. What good is your career or your money going to do him? Because he's the one that has to bring those qualities to the table in abundance. He has to be highly educated. He has to have a good career. He has to have significant income. You just don't want to get by. You want to live a very comfortable, if not lavish, lifestyle where if you wanted to be a stay-at-home wife, your lifestyle would not be affected because he can afford it. So those guys that you're looking for don't give a fuck about how much money you make or your career or whatever, education. You know who does? Most men. In today's world, most men cannot support a family on their income alone. Most men will look at a woman that's educated, has a career, makes her own money. It's like, wow, you know what? With my money and your money, we can live a good life together. But most women, that's not what you're looking for. That is why Morgan Stanley back in 2023 predicted that by 2030, 42% of women aged 40 and over are going to be single and childless. Because more and more women are deciding that they would rather fucking stay single and never have kids and focus on their careers than to settle. Now, man, that is going to have major ramifications on the economy and on, the birth rate. And so I just think that, until women have a fundamental shift when it comes to really what it is that, you realistically want, I think most men just need to remove themselves from the dating scene and just leave most of you females to the fucking Chads and the bad boys that get fucking ran through. Because, either you women are going to fucking grow old alone or you're going to have to share the Chads and the bad boys with each other. And these guys will only be too happy to accommodate you. Because why should they choose one? Why should they fucking settle down with one? Those guys are like a fucking kid in a candy store, and every piece of candy is saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. You don't have to pay for dinner. You don't have to wait for sex. You can just run through me all you want because you turn me on. You make me tingle. I need you to fucking part my walls and hit the back of, like the Red Sea, and hit the fucking back of my cervix like a fucking jackhammer. Bam, bam, bam. Treat me like a dirty little fucking slime. That's what these women want. Pull their hair back, talk dirty into her fucking ear, and smack their fucking asses and just fucking pound them. And then after you're done with them, they want you to cuddle with them and tell them how wonderful and amazing they are. That's what these fucking women want. And these fucking Chads and the bad boys, they're good at it. They know what these fucking women want. They'll tell you what you want to hear. And then when they're ready to fucking dump you, they'll ghost you. And they'll fucking recycle through you fucking females. Run through a whole roster, run through your female friend group. A while back I was watching a podcast where they had a group of women ask them 2 questions. 15 of them, they said, how many of you have ever been with a guy who's that guy and had one of your friends, had him sleep with one of your friends? And they all raised their hand. And he asked them the other question. How many of you had a friend who was dating or married to that guy, and he cheated with you on her? 13 out of 15 raised their hand. Women know when a woman is with a guy who's that guy, because they know those guys are rare. They don't grow on trees. And even women friends, they want to dog the guy for being a fucking hound. It takes 2 to tango, ladies. That's right. Your friends are just as much blame as the Chad or bad boy is. And so it's just like, it's not going, I don't see anything getting better. You know, and I just think that, you you ladies need to wake up and just, start being realistic. With when it comes to, you're not settling. There are decent guys out there, but it's just like, I think a lot of men are just getting fucking, sick and tired of the unfairness of dating, and instead of just like trying to, like play a game that's rigged against us, we just say, you know what, I don't want to play. I quit playing. And when you quit playing, I think more men are finding out that, man, life is easy. It's like from my perspective, I have lived life on easy mode for the last 19 years. I gave up dating in 2007. That's 19 years ago. Well, up there in September, it'd be 2000. It'd be 19 years, because that's when the last girlfriend I had, I broke up with her. I decided I'm done with this shit. I didn't realize at the time it was going to be like 19 years. But I was like, I'm taking a break. But that break turned into a revelation. I was like, man, it's easy. I mean, it's so time consuming, trying to like even find, go through the whole shit, the screening out, the dating process, and then once you're with somebody, it's just exhausting dealing with women. For a man who's a non-Chad or non-bad boy, it's exhausting. And when I gave up and removed myself, I just felt like relieved. The burden, the pressure was gone. And I found out that, I have an abundance of time now. I can do what the fuck I want to do with it. And as time passes on, it's like, man, I don't want to rock this boat. It's just no drama, no stress, no angst, no arguing, no like, oh my God, I got to watch what I say, or, I got to, like, what's she gonna yell at me now for, or what kind of resentments or whatever is she just gonna hold in until she reaches a point in the future? Be like, I mean, what's gonna set her off? Because women are like elephants when it comes to like, holding shit against you. All the petty little things that they just want to like hold receipts on. And it's just mind-boggling. I mean, it's just maddening. And I'm not saying as a man I'm perfect. I know I'm not. But you know what? Whenever I was with somebody, if a woman ever told me that, if she was ever upset with me or something like that, I always was like, you know what? I would take a look at, because I would want to make some, if I'm with somebody, I want to make them happy. I want them to be happy to be with me. And if she really was upset with something, I'd be like, okay, I'll take a look at it. But I don't think women, reciprocate that. I think women just like, what, they did their part. They show up and look pretty. That's all they got to do. But it's like, no. There's more to it than that. And they think that we got once they, okay, I'll be with you. It's like, we got to do all the work. No. It's like for a man to put himself in a position to even get a woman's time, attention. I mean, it takes a lot of effort for a man to do that. Women get attention easy. But for us, for most men who are non-chads and non-bad boys, it's a lot of effort. And, I feel like that's just, not worth the effort. The juice, it's not worth the squeezing it. Because when I'm squeezing it, the juice is not coming out. And so giving up, I mean, it's just, wow. I mean, I liked it my last 19 years. I can imagine what my last 19 years have been like if I had just continued dating. How miserable and whatever drama would have happened between now and then. It's like, man, no, I'm glad. Because I get to enjoy doing the things I want to do. And I think that more and more men are starting to wake up to the reality is that, what, it's just not good for us. And I think that, fellas, most women are not into you. Most women will never find you to be sexually appealing. They won't. And like I said, beginning of this video, remember this. Most women make most men wait for sex because they need to reach a point mentally where they can stomach having sex with a man that does not make them tingle down there. And they have to also accept the fact that if they have sex with this guy, they commit with this guy, if they're faithful with this guy, if they're potentially going to share the rest of their life with this guy, that they got to accept the fact that they'll never enjoy sex for the rest of their lives. That's why most women make most men wait. Because if most women were to make all men wait because they want to make sure that they're not being used for sex, that'd be one thing. But most women don't. They make most men, but they don't make the chads and the bad boys wait. Why? Because most women want to fuck those guys. They want to have their backs blown out by these guys. And they want, and they don't want to, wait. They don't require these guys to do certain things. They don't make these guys jump through hoops and hurdles before they give them the cookies. But yet they make most men do it. And fellas, quit being a fucking simp. Quit being a fucking sucker. If you're going on a date with a woman and she doesn't want to have sex with you right away, fuck her. Dump her. Kick her to the fucking curb. And say, you know what? I'm not going to pay premium. I'm not going to be a sucker that waits 90 days to have before if she's going to consider having sex with me. I mean, think about it. I mean, 90 days. You know what 90 days is if you're getting to know somebody? It's like you go on 2 to 3 dates a week with somebody. Let's say 2.5, right? Times 4, that's 10 dates in a month. 3 months is 90 days. That's 30 fucking dates. You know how much 30 dates cost for a man? Because these women want the guy to pay. They're not going to want, the pay. So how much does a guy have to pay to go on dates with a woman until that 90 days is up? And there's no guarantee that she's going to give him sex. What the fuck? Only a fucking simp is going to fucking pay for 30 dates, potentially over 90 days, without getting any fucking sex in return. Because the fucking Chads are not paying fucking 30 dates before they get sex. They're getting theirs up front. So it's okay for the fucking Chads to get their shit up front. But it's not okay for most men to get sex up front. So fellas, you know what? You gotta start putting these fucking females in check. If they don't want to give up the cookies right away, kick them to the fucking curb. Now, the only women that would have, a leg to stand on when it comes to this would be if women had never had sex with a man right away. If they had made every single man before them wait. But to sit there and go, okay, well, I'm reformed, I've changed, I've learned the errors of my ways. No, fuck that. Because let me tell you something. If that woman came across a Chad that wanted to go out with her, she would not make him wait. But she's going to make you wait. Fuck that. Fuck these fucking females. These fucking delusional ass ran through Delulus. All right, guys. That's enough for now. Almost an hour up. I'll probably post another video in a couple of days because I got some stuff that I want to get off my chest. And, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. And it's just, a lot of Kevin Samuels. So some of this stuff I've been getting out, I kind of like, took from him because, he's not alive anymore. But I love listening to his old podcasts. And these fucking females on there, who all think they deserve a high value man. I mean, he rips them to shreds. He says you can't pay attention to what women say. You have to pay attention to what they do. And the other thing he says that I love, you can't make this shit up. Some of the shit that comes out of a fucking woman's mouth, you can't make this shit up. Especially when it comes to shit they do. You can't make this shit up. They want the Chad to run through them. They give them cookies right away. But the good guy, the decent guy, got to wait 90 fucking days. Fuck that. All right. You guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later.